Hello, this is Mike. I am here today to return to this channel and continue making videos about spirituality, self-love, and the path of becoming your most authentic and powerful sense of self, the most amazing version of who you can possibly be. So I have been kind of experimenting with other projects and ideas, and I've realized that I am going to refocus all of my energies back into this channel because this channel is special to me, and the idea of creator as an intention is very powerful to my heart. And I want to bring into this channel new consciousness of who I have become in the past year away from making videos. And I want to integrate into this channel evolutionary astrology more and more as a way of deepening the path of self-love and embodying your authentic truth and your higher self into your body. And I am a work in progress, and I love that. And it makes me feel free to make mistakes and be human and just take this journey with everyone else. We're all just transforming and becoming who we came here to be in whatever way works for us, and it's all perfect. And so the title of this video is How to Become Your Own Spiritual Archetype Through Self-Love. And what I want to focus on in this video and moving forward is to avoid spiritual jargon and trying to explain things in overly metaphysical, complicated ways, because I've realized that what's powerful is simple. If you can't explain something to a child, then you don't understand it at the deepest level. And so what I want to talk about is the power of archetypes as symbols and gateways into higher consciousness. So in evolutionary astrology, the power of the system is through symbolic mixing together of ideas and patterns and evolutionary pathways and ways that you can most powerfully become your higher self in human form. And that doesn't mean levitation. It doesn't mean such lofty things necessarily, but it means just being who your soul wanted you to be before you came here. And evolutionary astrology can help you do that so amazingly. And I want to integrate that system that I've been learning into the journey of self-love and becoming your own unique spiritual archetype. This is so important to just commit to your own unique spiritual journey. Books are helpful. Listening to people is helpful about their own experiences. However, you are your own spiritual archetype, like symbolically as Neptune in astrology, unique spiritual path. Everyone has reoccurring patterns in their journey and kind of initiations that everyone experiences. However, it's all experienced differently. And I want to be able to help people move out of judging themselves for having expectations in a spiritual journey and trying to measure up to what you think you need to accomplish or experience to be spiritual, and instead just soften into what is already perfect and real and alive in your own spiritual journey. Because that's what you are. Your spiritual journey is you. And you don't have to judge yourself about thinking you're doing it wrong. So I'm going to spend many more videos talking about archetypes and of the planets and zodiac signs as pathways of evolution. And however, I wanted to just kind of touch on what I think of as the primal archetypes quickly, as absolutely essential to become a whole human being in your body is to connect to your masculine self, your solar identity, and to connect to your feminine self, your lunar identity. And I think a great image to think of, ways to understand these two archetypes is, this is sort of influenced by Carl Jung, which is one of the most important teachers to my astrology teacher. So I kind of know about his work secondhand. However, the archetype of self, I think of this as the sun in astrology, identity, ego formation in the healthy sense of having a ground to stand on, knowing who you are, being able to build a life around an identity that's healthy and makes you feel alive. And so the archetype of self is these two archetypes of divine masculine and divine feminine. You can think of them like a tree. The tree is a beautiful metaphor for understanding this. So archetype is a reoccurring pattern from the microcosmic to the macrocosmic. And these patterns, they work by being infinitely simple, yet also infinitely complex. And it's a pattern that spirit uses to explore itself and discover itself in new and exciting ways, such as every person in this world, everyone's spiritual journey. So think of the primal archetype of self as divine masculine, like a tree, the tree trunk, singular and centralized, and it goes upwards and it begins to branch off and split into branches and limbs and stems and eventually leaves and flower buds. And so you have the primal archetype of consciousness of self branching outward into endless manifestations of consciousness recognizing itself in new ways. And that's light, that's solar, masculine mind consciousness, all these ideas of creation. And the countervailing, balancing energy of the divine feminine is the archetype of life. I love that term. I think it's from Carl Jung as the anima, the archetype of life being the divine feminine. And so you have, again, the centralized tree of life, the idea of consciousness, spirit, the archetype of self expressing itself, coming out of the mind and just abstract ideas with no manifestation, and going outward into endless branches and limbs and leaves and flowers. And there you have the primal archetype of self coming upward through the tree. Primal archetype of life coming upward through the tree into endless, infinite manifestation. So all of the myriad forms of life, all of the expressions of life, plants, planets, galaxies, sentient beings like us, universes. All of these branch out from the primal archetype of life, the creative principle of manifestation. That's the Divine Mother. And so, before I spend too much time talking about that, those two primal archetypes constitute a whole human being. Solar consciousness, spirit consciousness, life, conscious mind, and then counterbalanced by the archetype of life, the divine feminine, what Carl Jung would call the unconscious, the personal unconscious, the collective unconscious, the subconscious, the parts of creation that exist independently of your consciousness of them. And so balancing these things together is the essence of a unique spiritual journey, and it's an archetypal pattern. These two things come together. However, it's completely unique for everyone. And so becoming your own spiritual archetype is done by going through these initiations of the spiritual path of, surrender, resurrection, transformation, realizing your mortality, all of these things. And self-love brings all of these things together, and so you can have just so much compassion and mercy for your own spiritual path. And it doesn't have to be the way you think it needs to be. It already is the way that your soul designed it to be, and you just have to let that happen. And so, trying to avoid talking in this one video too much, but the system of evolutionary astrology is amazing because it can help you to realize your unique path in your evolutionary journey. And the power of the system is that it completely eviscerates the ideas of fortune telling and personality prediction that is the way most people think of astrology. And it's replaced by the power of the conscious free will to dictate your path forward, to create your life as you see fit, and to know how to do it without trying too hard. So on one hand, you have the archetypal patterns and symbols of astrology, and then these are questions that you're going to experience in life. These are energies that you're going to encounter. And the power of this system is conscious free will. It's more powerful than the archetypal patterns and symbols. And those patterns and symbols have high expressions, and they have low expressions. The high expressions are expressions made from love and made from the intention to help and be kind to others. And that's the high roads of archetypal possibilities. And that's connecting to your higher self. And the low road, where conscious free will intersects these patterns of archetypal possibilities, is the shadow, as Carl Jung called it. And that's where you deny your higher self, where you deny the sacredness of life, of others, and yourself. And so the path of self-love is how to transform all of these energies from the collective unconscious way into a collective conscious way, into unity consciousness. And so, as I try to wrap this up, I just want to say that you have the absolute right to be your own unique spiritual path, your spiritual journey. Your higher self is so real and alive already, and it's so close to you. You wouldn't believe it if you were to suddenly experience it. And the point of this is to just slowly and gently realize how close you are to your higher self as you already. And it's all done through self-love, balancing the divine feminine and the divine masculine, the archetype of life and the archetype of self. And so I hope this video has helped you and to feel a sense that you have the right to commit to feel and to what feels real, and just to your commit to what feels real and beautiful to you. Your own journey is your journey. Don't compare it to other people. Just act from who you know you are, and seek to make the world a better place for everyone. And be willing to humble yourself at the feet of teachers and masters that you know are further along the path than you are. I have so many teachers, it's just crazy. I can't even keep them all straight, and some are more important to me than others. But you absolutely have to understand that the spiritual journey is more of a lineage than trying to figure everything out on your own. Through the ancestors, through guides and ascended masters, knowing how to work with them is absolutely amazing. And it's always to access your higher self, not to worship someone else, but to access the higher self everyone shares. And so I hope that this video has helped you understand how you are your own unique spiritual archetype of spiritual transformation coming alive in physical form. And thank you for listening. I'll be making much more videos. I like this new setup I got going here. And I love you all so much. Have a great day. Thank you.